Hello everybody, MorbTron here. Today I'm going to be talking about a topic that I wasn't originally going to make a video on, but after the amount of discussion and backlash and anger within the Destiny 2 community, I felt like I needed to put my 2 cents in on the topic, and that is the nerfs that are coming in Season of Opulence to a lot of exotics that a lot of people really love. That's really going to kind of shake up the PvE sandbox for the game. And now, before I get into any of that, I just want to put out there that I'm not here to defend what Bungie did whatsoever. I think they did a lot of things wrong, especially in their delivery of the news. And I'm not here to say the community is 100% correct in their being just flat out angry as well. I sit kind of somewhere in the middle. My opinion is mixed about things. I think they could have done things differently with the nerfs, but I'm not here to get into that as well, because I'm not a game developer. I don't work at Bungie. I don't have any say in what gets done or what doesn't get done. And saying how I would change something or how I would make it isn't going to change what Bungie has in store for Season of Opulence, because it's probably already adjusted. That is probably ready to be shipped already. It's just not here yet. They're probably doing final tweaks, that sort of thing. Writing up patch notes, putting out the giant dumpster fire they just started within the community. But, yeah. But where Bungie kind of really dropped the ball here wasn't wanting to shake up the sandbox. It wasn't wanting to make sure there weren't things out there that would cause such a massive power creep that they would have to either bring everything up to that weapon's level, meaning that the raids would have to be, and the raids and the nightfalls and just every piece of PvE content would have to scale up in just flat out numbers, that sort of thing. That's what power creep does. Now, back in the day, back when I used to play World of Warcraft, when it first came out, Vanilla WoW, and I played a couple of different expansions, and as time went on, power creep was definitely noticeable within the game. You started out in Vanilla WoW doing hundreds of damage, tens of damage, and when you went into raids, you were doing, at most, thousands of damage to the bosses. And then as expansions went on, we started seeing tens of thousands of damage, hundreds of thousands of damage. And before they did what was called a stat squish, the first one, we were doing millions of damage per hit to bosses. And they've done a few stat squishes apparently since then as well. I haven't played the game. I don't know what the current state of that game is. That's not the topic. But that's just an example of what was done. So what was done then is they basically just rebalanced the sandbox of the game, and they made everybody do less damage. But what that did was allow them to design encounters differently and make sure that bosses wouldn't have to have literally billions of health to make up for the amount of damage that players were able to do. So scaling everything back kind of lets the developers kind of expand on certain things, rework certain things, and have a lot fewer very large numbers out there to make sure are staying within checks. So that's why I think things like Whisper of the Worm, things like Skull of Dire Ahamkara, the other exotics that are getting nerfed that aren't as overpowered in my opinion. The armors anyway, so Orpheus rigs, Phoenix Protocol, you know, those sort of things. They might not be as overpowered or as damage boosting as, say, you know, Whisper of the Worm is, with a heavy weapon having infinite ammo. But it's basically a stat squish that's just knocking down the most powerful items. But what Bungie should have done is deliver the news a little bit differently. They should have given us a taste of what's to come in the next annual pass before saying, hey, by the way, we're taking all your favorite toys now and we're going to throw them in the garbage. But before we throw them in the garbage, we're going to break them. You know? Taking somebody's toys away, but first breaking on them, stomping them, light them on fire right in front of their faces isn't going to go over well. So what you should have done is, or what Bungie should have done, is given us a look into some of the new toys, some of the new things we're going to be getting our hands on in Season of Opulence before saying, by the way, we're breaking all your toys. I think it would have gone over much better. I think that the amount of outrage would have been less, but there would be probably some people that were still probably going to be just as mad about things like Whisper of the Worm getting nerfed into the ground. People that do like solo challenges, speed runs for PvE content, that sort of thing. Currently, they depend on things like Whisper of the Worm to be able to pull some of these feats off. And in the current sandbox, if nothing else was changing in the Season of Opulence, and all we had for content is what we have now, and they're just like, hey, by the way, we're going to break your toys, that would kind of ruin the fun for a lot of those speedrunners, those solo challenge players, that sort of thing, that depend on those weapons and armor pieces to do that. But we don't know what's in store for us, what new 6-player match-made activities is coming, what the encounters for the new raid are going to be like and be centered around, what new exotics, what new mechanics, what new anything is coming. We only know what current toys we have are being lit on fire and stomped on in front of our faces. Massive PR failure in Bungie's part there. So that's what Bungie could have done better. As far as what they should be doing to those exotics instead of what they are planning to do, what they said they're going to do, like I said, I'm not going to get into it because what is coming down the pipeline is probably already done. And if anything is to be reverted or tweaked in the future, I don't have anything to say about what happens, so I'm not even going to get into that. It'd be a waste of time. But what I will say is the next thing is the power fantasy of this game. I think that's kind of where the community needs to kind of reflect on what that term means. So power fantasy, a lot of people get this in their heads that they must feel powerful all the time in this game because they are a demigod that flies around outer space, killing aliens, throwing magic everywhere, having weapons that shoot bullets and rockets and grenades and have magic science properties to them, and everything's amazing all the time and all this stuff, and we need to feel powerful. We need to feel powerful all the time. But what comes with feeling powerful all the time is a lack of difficulty. You can't really say, I want to feel powerful all the time, I want to one-shot everything, and I want to hold these weapons in my hands that can literally kill gods, and still have a game that can provide a challenge to people. There's always going to be those people that the game is going to be extremely easy for. You know, look to the people that do the world's first runs in raids, that sort of thing. Things become a snooze fest of ease, and then they start doing speed runs and things like that to stay in the game. So for them, this discussion really doesn't make sense. They're always going to be that way. There's always going to be those group of people that are super, super good at the game, and they're going to blaze through PvE content. They're going to go for worlds first. They're going to do the thing. They're going to get the points, and then we're going to be in awe and clap our hands watching them on Twitch. That's what's going to happen. So for those people getting their favorite toys taken away that let them do what they do currently, that sucks for them. It really does. But we don't know what's coming. And their power fantasy is unique. But the regular players, or the casual players' power fantasy, needs to be in check to still provide some sort of difficulty for them to strive against. So if a game is, you know, a soft breeze, and all you have to do is just walk forward, you know, hold A to win, nobody's going to play it. But if a game offers a challenge and offers a variety of levels of challenge, it's going to be much more successful than a game that's either a brick wall of difficulty or a walk through the park in a splash in a puddle. So we really need to be careful with what we say about wanting power fantasy and things like that, because it can really be a detriment to how we see ourselves in the game environment. We can't run around one-shotting everything. But I think this video has gone on long enough. Like I said, I wasn't going to talk specifically about the nerfs. A link will be in the description down below if you want to read them. But yeah, that's what I had to say. Bungie failed massively for PR with how they released the news here. You need to give some sugar with a little bit of the bitter news. You have to sugarcoat things. You cannot just punch people in the gut and expect them to be happy about it. And at the same time, the player base needs to realize that the game does need to be rebalanced, and that power fantasy needs to be kept in check. Otherwise, the game isn't going to survive either. But hopefully, Season of Opulence brings us new toys that are exciting, fun, and powerful. And hopefully the new activities that we're getting alongside the new raid are incredibly fun and challenging at the same time, and I can't wait to get my hands on them. But let me know what your opinions are in the comment section down below. I don't want to get into specifics about certain exotics. What's going to happen is going to happen, and we're just going to have to adjust to the new meta, adjust to the new sandbox, and keep on keeping on. But with that, if you want to show your support, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, but don't forget to have a good day, everybody, and I will catch you all next time.